What if Jeb Bush ran in 2008? In this timeline, Jeb Bush, he gets the Republican nomination over John McCain, Mitt Romney, Ron Paul, Newt Gingrich, and Christy Cruz, and Rudy Giuliani. Jeb Bush would pick Rudy Giuliani as his running mate. 2008 U.S.A. election, Bush-Giuliani vs. Obama-Biden. Jeb Bush sweeps Wisconsin, New Mexico, and Virginia, and Ohio, Indiana, and Florida, winning the election with 275 electoral votes, continuing on George W. Bush's legacy and the dominance of the Republican Party. Economy crisis report and facing the 2008 Great Recession collapse. A President Jeb Bush would have likely have pushed free market finance, conservative politics, similar to his time as Florida governor, possibly reducing in future deregulation or a different approach. Imitating reforms. Jeb supports a path to legal states for many illegal importations, which might have placed him in the odds of conservative base of his own party, political causing intolerant fractions. Immigration reforms. Jeb supports path to legal statutes for legal immigrants. Education reform. I think that's what it says. Anyway, he would have likely pushed for nation education standards like Common Core, which he advocated for in his entire political career as the governor of Florida, and now in this timeline as the president in 2009. Foreign policy, he would likely have maintained similar stances to the war in Iraq and Afghanistan, probably prolonging American involvement in the Middle East. Party alignments. A Bush win might have delayed the rise of a more populist Republican Party, keeping the party focused on train records, economy, conversation for longer. Dynasty course. Running and winning immediately after his brother might have caused voters to view his electoral as monitoring disgrace his policy. The withdrawal from Iraq, is it successful? The withdrawal from Iraq is pretty successful. Jeb Bush's cabinet. Secretary of State, John McCain. Secretary of Defense, Colin Powell. Secretary of Interior, Doug Burgum. Secretary of Health and Human Services, probably someone like, John Kasich. Supreme Court appointments, Ted Cruz. 2012 U.S.A. election, Biden Clinton versus Bush Giuliani. Jeb Bush is running for re-election in 2012. Jeb Bush is able to win the election extremely easily with 375 electoral votes. Even winning states like California and New York, and Vermont and Maine, which haven't voted for the Republicans since 1988, when George H.W. Bush won his first term against Michael S. Dukakis. Anyway, Jeb Bush's second term and a legacy. 2013 to 2017, 4 years. Jeb Bush continues detente, exposes child care, and reducing taxes. Inflation remains a problem. 2020 USA election, Harris Biden vs. Callison Kasich. Ben Callison, an entire neurosurgeon from Michigan, is the Republican nominee. Despite a good presidency, people are getting tired of Republican dominance. 16 years to be exact. But despite all this, Ben Callison was able to win the election, shockingly winning states like Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine, tipping the Electoral College. The COVID-19 pandemic. The COVID-19 pandemic is nothing short of a disaster. Millions and millions of people died in the United States. The Democrats would nominate probably someone like Pete Buttigieg, Tulsi Gabbard, or Amy Klobuchar, and Tulsi Gabbard gets the Democratic nomination, as many people believe that she's the one who can get the stuff done. Tulsi Gabbard would go with Pete Buttigieg, as Buttigieg is the second one most likely to get stuff done. Even though Ben Callison is extremely unpopular, especially after the Mueller John Floyd, and the country becomes more divided than it has been, as it has since the Civil War, and the economy has been doing as worse as it done since it has since the Great Depression, as businesses closed and locked down, as many people tried to slow the spread of the virus. Ben Callison still easily gets the Republican nomination, winning the Republican nomination over figures like Nikki Haley or Marco Rubio. 2020 USA election, Callison Kasich vs. Gabbard Buttigieg. Tulsi Gabbard was able to win 2020. The COVID-19 pandemic would come to an end in 2022. That same year, the Democrats easily win the midterms. And fingers are still being pointed at the Republicans for the COVID-19 pandemic. So it's looking very good. Good things, Gaza war, winning the midterms, and the end of the COVID-19 pandemic. Terrible things. Still a lot more people died in Gabbard's first term. Not as much as during Ben Callison's first term. 2024 USA election, Haley DeSantis vs. Gabbard Buttigieg. Tulsi Gabbard is able to win 2020. 2024 Democratic primaries, Pete Buttigieg, Kamala Harris, becomes vice president in this timeline. And also a lot more people like J.B. Pritzker, John Friedman, Amy Klobuchar, AOC, Oscar, and even people like Josh Shapiro or Galvin Newsom, and J.B. Pritzker and Andy Beshear. Vice President Pete Buttigieg would be the Democratic nominee, with Andy Beshear, 2020 Republican primaries. Tim Scott, J.D. Vance, becomes vice president in this timeline. Josh Hawley, Ron DeSantis, Marco Rubio, Nikki Haley, Tim Scott, Ron Paul, Paul Ryan, and even Mitt Romney, who in real life lost 2012 election to Barack Obama. Mitt Romney would then drop out of the race. And thus, Ron DeSantis becomes the Republican nominee with Josh Hawley. 2028 USA election, Buttigieg, Beshear vs. DeSantis, Hawley. Pete Buttigieg was able to win 2028. 2008, Jeb Bush. 2012, Jeb Bush. 2016, Ben Callison. 2020, Tulsi Gabbard. 2024, Tulsi Gabbard. 2028, Pete Buttigieg. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.